Hi, I'm Sue.
And I'm Mel, and this is Manifesting with Mel and Sue. Today's topic is going to be
Scripting. Yes. So honestly, scripting is one of my favorite manifesting techniques. And I think the reason why I feel like I keep coming back to the same thing, but the reason why I love scripting so much is because it's easier for me to detach with it.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been talking a lot about detachment lately, and we have that coming in an upcoming video. But let's right now focus on scripting. So what is scripting?
Basically, it's just writing out your affirmations or writing out the new story as my nutshell version of it. You're basically writing out your desired outcome. You're writing out the story that you want to have, the affirmations that you're focused on, any of that stuff.
Yes. So you're right. Like there are a lot of different ways that you can script.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have, we talked recently in a video about SATs and how you would create a scene and loop that when you fall asleep. You can use scripting in the same way. You can write out a scene that you want to happen. And that's something that I've done before. And I think I talked about it in one of our SP videos where I imagined my first date with my SP and I had scripted it. I wrote out exactly the details of what we did, where we walked and all of that. And then it happened like exactly how the route that I had imagined literally happened. And the reason why I love scripting so much is, like I said, like once you put it down on paper and you have imagined it in your mind, like you don't constantly think about it. And so it's just kind of like it's already out there to happen, and it does. But you can also, like you said, you can script your affirmations. You can just write your affirmation over and over again. I've done that before, and that's effective.
Yep.
I have done revision on my childhood through scripting, where every day I would get up and I would write the same story about my childhood and how it made me into the well-adjusted adult that I am now. And so I would repeat that every day until I just stopped writing it, because I feel like I am that person now and I don't need to write it anymore. And then writing the new story. I mean, that's an example of writing the new story.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So scripting is great for that. What is your experience been with scripting?
So I love it because my assumption has always been, since as long as I can remember, that if I write it down, I memorize things better just by writing it down, which is actually scientifically proven.
Yeah.
But I love it because I also believe that all I have to do is write it the one time and it's done. And it does. You have that detachment. You write it down, you let it go. You don't have to think about it. It gets it out of your head onto the paper. And so I feel like
it puts it into the world.
Yes.
It's out of your head and literally out there. Yes.
Exactly.
I feel the same way.
And so I love it. And I have had I've had a lot of successes with affirmations. Like it works really well for my affirmations. I have not done as much with creating new stories, but I have had a success with rewriting a new story on a relationship with a friend. And I basically took it from being not as good as I wanted it to be to it being really great. And I was surprised. It wasn't that I didn't believe it would work. I just wasn't really thinking about it. I was just like, I'll try it. I'll give it a try. And it worked. And I was just like, wow, this really does work. It was when I first started scripting.
Yeah.
And so it was really exciting to kind of have that experience and to realize that just by putting it out there made that difference for me.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love it. It's, after affirmations is definitely a close second for favorites.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't say... You might want to mute the phone.
Mute that.
I wouldn't say affirmations are my favorite. I think for me, it's SATs and scripting are right up there for me, but I do use affirmations on a daily basis. I would say the thing that I love about scripting most is that because you have everything written down, once your affirmations start coming in, you can go back and look at like what you wrote and be like, holy crap, This was word for word.
Yeah,
right.
You have it documented, a record showing you.
Yes. So when this guy starts spitting out all of the affirmations that I wrote about myself, word for word at me, and I'm just like, I go back and I look in my journal and I'm like, holy crap, I put that in his head. Like, I put it out in the universe, and he just took it and ran with it.
Exactly. And it's so exciting. I have to say, for me, it's been very exciting to follow your journey in scripting.
Yeah.
Because we talk about it.
Yes.
And then, like, later on, you know, after I've already seen the script, and you're like, oh my God, check this out. Do you remember when I showed this to you?
I can't tell you how many times Mel has come over and we're hanging out, and I'm like, hold on, I gotta go get my journal.
Exactly.
And I bring it out and I read something to her.
And it's stuff like we've already talked about. And, you know, like, I mean, we share everything because we're besties, but sisters.
Love you. I love you too.
It's just really exciting to kind of be a part of that journey and to see it.
Another thing you can do with scripting is to if you're trying to build, if you're new to manifesting and you want to build up belief, you can write a list of small things that you want to manifest. Just write a list, and then you don't need to go back and like reread the list or anything. Once you write it and then you start experiencing it, go back later and check the list, and you'd be surprised how many things would be on there. That's a pretty popular thing. I think a lot of people who are who come into manifesting through the law of attraction may be familiar with certain methods, like the 5x55 method or the 369 method. These are all different types of scripting methods where you write an affirmation a certain number of times for a certain number of days, and then it manifests. So, I mean...
Which I've tried both of those, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yes, I have.
Wow.
Yeah, I personally, the 55x5 one, I didn't love because it felt forced for me. That was just for me.
Right.
When I first started, it was kind of fun. But then, you know, when you're writing the same affirmation, like you have this like set number. For me, it was like,
I feel like my assumption is that when I write something once, it's more effective.
Yes.
But it also, I think, depends on how much resistance I have.
That's true.
If it's something where I feel like it's not done, then it's not done, and I still like keep working on it. The secret to manifesting is feeling like it's done, like it's impressed. So if you can write something and let it go, then you're going to be better off, in my opinion. But again, do what you believe works for you. So if you try scripting, if you believe that you need to write it over and over again, then do that, because that repetition is going to impress on your subconscious.
Exactly.
If you believe that you can just write it once and let it go, and that's going to be more effective, then do that. Try different things and see what works best for you.
And try to not get into the habit. I used to fall prey to this, was it's working for this person, why is it not working for me? Or this technique's working for this person, how come it doesn't work for me? And then I started realizing, like, it doesn't have to work for me. You know, if SATS works for you and it doesn't for me, that's okay, because maybe affirmations might work for me better than they might for you, or vice versa. Do you know what I mean? So...
Yes, I agree. I think that you need to find what works for you, or decide what works for you. That's even more effective.
Exactly.
But also, I want to go back to something that you just said.
What's that?
When you were saying, why doesn't SATS work for me? If you find yourself thinking that, you're basically affirming that it doesn't work for you. And just because it hasn't worked yet doesn't mean it wasn't going to work for you.
That's true.
So I would say, if you find yourself questioning, try and flip that. And say, why does everything work for me? You know, I had in the past talked about how I didn't feel like repeating affirmations worked for me. And I realized watching that video after it was published, I was like, you know what? Affirmations always work for me. Like, that's an assumption that I'm going to roll with now, because I don't like having the belief that they don't. I know affirmations work for me. They have in the past. I think we were speaking specifically about robotic affirming and letting things go.
Yes.
And I do think that when you are able to detach, for me, it manifests things quicker because I'm not questioning it. But if you can be in control of your thoughts and just focus on what you want over and over again, it has no choice but to manifest.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think for me, the same thing was that I think, and I believe it was the same video, I said something about, oh, SATs don't work as well for me. And right after that video, like we recorded it, I was like, why do they not? Why would they not work for me? Everything works for me. I'm a master manifestor.
Right.
So I'm like, why wouldn't they? And sure enough, now they do. Like,
the great thing about talking about this stuff, I know we're kind of like working through our stuff with you right now.
Absolutely.
It's bringing up limiting beliefs that we're recognizing in the moment. And so now we can revise those beliefs, right?
Revision is awesome.
We're going to talk about revision soon. So stay tuned for that video coming out. But yeah, discussing these things might show you what your limiting beliefs are. If you're trying a technique and you're thinking, oh, why is it not working? First of all, flip that thought. It's always working. But also like, oh, maybe that's a belief that can be changed. In the meantime, while you are reaffirming that it does work for you, you can focus on another method that you may feel maybe more effective.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think for your brain, your if you do ask-formations, which we talked about previously, instead of saying, my SP is so in love with me, or I earn $1,000 a day. Instead of saying that, because it maybe to your subconscious at the moment, it might be harder for you to accept that. So you say, why? Why is my SP so in love with me? Like, why are they just obsessed? Why do I make so much money? Why do I have so much money in my bank account?
Yes.
And you're going to have less resistance to something like that because you're asking a question, but it's still a statement.
What your mind does is it immediately looks for evidence. And if it doesn't have the evidence, then it's going to provide it for you.
Exactly. Because you have no choice but to create that.
Yeah, I love that. So yeah, play around with ask-formations or affirmations.
Yes.
But right now, we're talking about scripting.
Yes, so, I kind of veered off topic a little bit.
I would, if you don't have any experience with scripting, think of something that you want to manifest. Write out your end scene or what you want to have happen, and see what happens. Just put it away in your journal and then see what happens. Or you can try the manifesting list, where you write out a list of things that little things. Start with little things to build your faith, right? And then go from there.
Exactly. It's like lifting a weight. If you want to start lifting weights, you don't start at the heaviest weight. You start at one that you can manage now. And as you get stronger, as your faith is built, then you can add heavier, so to speak, things.
Or we can say that all manifestations are equally easy to manifest, because I easily manifest everything I desire in one affirmation. We talked about that already.
Yes.
All right, so I feel like we may have conflicted ourselves a bit in this video, and that's fine. The bottom line is, and we'll keep saying it, find what works for you, right?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, so I think that is it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Don't forget to comment what your favorite manifesting style is, what works best for you, and go out and manifest that dream life.